Before I show you the demo, I'd like to give you a little bit of an overview of what you're about to see. So in this demo, I'm going to play the role of an AI developer on a manufacturing company who's been tasked with developing a solution that allows the business users of the company to interrogate their manufacturing production data with natural language without having to go into complicated applications, but just ask questions to the data. So in order to do that, the developer, I choose to develop a custom copilot, and I will be using developing this custom copilot from Azure AI Studio, which we recently rebranded as Azure AI Foundry. So forgive me if I refer to Azure AI Studio. I'm just very used to it, but it's Azure AI Foundry. So the developer will be using a large language model that he will buy from the marketplace as the base for this copilot. And then he'll be grounding the large language model with company-specific data. And this company-specific data comes from the manufacturing plant floor, from the equipment and all that, from the devices, and is being put together, consolidated, massaged, and put it into an AI-friendly format via a third-party application from a vendor called SideMachine that they also purchase from the marketplace. So although the demo will be mostly on Azure AI Foundry, there are two important pieces where we go to the marketplace, one to buy the large language model for Cohere, and the other to buy the application from SideMachine. So with that context, let me switch over to the demo. So I'm here in Azure AI Foundry, and I go to the model catalog to shop for a large language model that to use as the base for my copilot. I can choose for several criteria, the inference task, etc. But more importantly for this demo is I choose to serverless API. What that is that those are large language models that are hosted by Microsoft. So you don't have to deploy a VM with very expensive GPUs. I just pay for the tokens I use with the model. So I keep shopping, and I decide that Cohere Command R is the large language model I want. So when I go to deployment, here is a seamless integration with the Microsoft Marketplace where I can buy and subscribe to the model, check the pricing, of course, all that, subscribe to the model, and seamlessly it deploys it into my Azure AI Foundry environment. So once the model is deployed, I go to the playground where I can test it with some questions, right? But it's important to know that this model was trained with public data. It knows nothing about my company data, right? So if I ask it a basic question, so list the equipment that we have, it just doesn't know, right? It'll answer with some generic thing about printers and telephones, completely useless, right? So what do I do now? Well, how do I solve this? I ground the model with company-specific data, right? But sometimes finding the data and preparing it and massaging it for AI training is arguably one of the most difficult tasks in AI development. So what do I do, right? So to address that, we have worked with many third-party companies, ISV vendors, to publish solutions on the marketplace that not only they use AI, but they also unlock their data for customers to use AI. So imagine I'm back in time and I'm going to marketplace to buy such a solution. So I ask, hey, I need a solution that can help me consolidate my company's manufacturing data. So this is the AI-powered search that Anthony was referring to. So it generates some suggestions based on my prompt. I analyze all the choices, the suggestions, and I choose SideMachine Connect, which does just what I want. It collects the data from my manufacturing plant floor, and it puts it in a format like this that I can use for AI grounding. It's in a JSON format. It's in a common data model that I can understand. So going back to AI Foundry, I'm going to ground my large model from Cohere with that data. So from Foundry is very easy. I just add the data to the model. And now AI Foundry is going to do a series of actions. It's going to chunk the data, create the index database, et cetera. Some of you may recognize these steps as a retrieval augmented generation RAG. So this is what AI Foundry is doing right now. And now the model is based in data. It's grounded by company data. So if I ask the question, list the equipment we have, it'll know. It'll reply with company-specific data. Another question is, what equipment has produced the product, PT, et cetera, et cetera? This machine has produced that product. So it's company data that came from that data was dumped by the side machine. I used it to ground the model, and now I can answer questions. So really quickly, to wrap up what you just saw, I went to Azure AI Foundry to create a custom copilot. I went in Azure AI Studio through the marketplace. I purchased an LLM from Cohere. This was not just any LLM. It was a hosted LLM, so I don't have to pay for the VM. I don't have to pay for the expensive GPUs. I only pay for the tokens that I pass back and forth. Then I show you how to ground the base model with company-specific data that came from the equipment and that was collected and massaged and grouped and tagged properly for AI consumption with this application from Side Machine that I also purchased from the marketplace.